Hello, my name is Lisa Caloro. My first poem is called August Light, and the epigraph is, and that was all that meant, just the luminous, lambent quality of an older light than ours. William Faulkner. If you can smell the 4 roses on my breath, you are not paying attention. The fields are bleached to bone. Days are quiet as storm force reckoning. The trees don't move an inch. Hold their breath, hold their own, hold the last bit of green summer will allow before it moans into the next death. We are dying and don't even know it. The maw of the beast so ordinary, we forget it's there, waiting for us to sleep through another heartbreak. I wouldn't know a crocus if I saw it because this light is holding me steady, is yellowing the corners of old photos in my mind. Childhood summers, when the ground dusted bare feet with skeletons of dead flowers. Running through fields, my child's body disappears. My mother's worry, another land I haven't set foot in, yet since her mother is still alive, waving from the backyard. Her fingers dark from unearthing new ways to keep the past where it lies. What does it mean when you call your ancestors from graves you didn't dig and adulthood forces you to search for roots in another soil? I miss the teeth and the smile my grandmother lost. The front porch she sat on for years on a mountain I can't name sags, invites me home. Catskill light falls at summer's end, same as Blue Ridge light, but the mountains here don't recognize my breath. The dark whiskey that colors it. That light is older than everything I know. That light will bathe me, put me to bed, bury me where I belong.
First poem I'm going to read, it's called Song of Husbands. I wrote this back in 2012, actually. At the time, I was going to different venues and I was meeting a lot of people. And one of the things I noticed was a lot of people coming up to me talking about struggles with their sexuality, with their relationships, and their family not accepting those things. So this poem uses a persona, right, in order to address those issues of the people that I was meeting and getting to know. So it was written before the legalization of same-sex marriage in the United States. Song of Husbands. In a past life, I was one of King Solomon's 700 wives, a daughter whose father gritted his teeth at my birth because he'd have to give me up to another man someday. I was a decade of hands kneading dough before Solomon, had to work for every mouthful. The only men I'd seen before Solomon were the field hands harvesting barley with my father. I'd wash the sand off their feet after, always on my knees, always with a yes, master. Man's foot fetishes started here. The arrangement was a bargain. King Solomon's dowry would feed my father and our family for a lifetime. The easiest way to a man's heart has always been through his stomach. The wedding was what you'd call a beauty pageant in the 21st century. Becoming a wife was supposed to distinguish me from the crowd, not blend me into one, yet here I was waiting as wedding bands were passed around like bread and fish. When he slipped the ring on my finger, he said I do, to a woman whose name he forgot. He only remembers my name on nights when his left arm is under my head and his right arm is embracing me. Even back then, the easiest way for a man to remember your name has always been for him to yell it. Each morning after, his mouth is a foaming creek of compliments. My nose is the Tower of Babel, leaving men at a loss for words. My hair, a flock of mountain goats jumping from the cliff of my shoulders. My smile is shorn wool, tied by the red ribbon of his lips. I am the wife he wrote the Song of Solomon for, but I've had to scrub the words out of his babble like miles off feet. Flattery started here. 3,000 years later, I am a gay white boy in rural New York where the tree to gay ratio sucks. My father now grits his teeth at giving me up to a man someday, but he won't give me away at the wedding. Says only brides are given away to husbands. This time around, my husband won't need 700 wedding bands. In most states, he isn't even allowed one. A mortgage will replace a dowry. Still, he'll never underestimate the privilege of marriage. He'll refuse to cruise the gay bars to spend his nights rubbing the feet of men whose names he'll forget in the morning. When the time comes, when that time comes, I want God to walk me down the aisle. His unconditional love means more to my future than a father's approval. If my own father can't stomach it, I need to know that the Father of humanity approves, because simply put, true love starts here, after the song.
With love from Ginger. The last time I wore these shoes, we were dancing, gliding like gilded angels on a carpet of clouds. My scarlet toes skating yours as we spun like pinwheels, braving a blizzard. Your coral lips glancing mine as we dared the closeness of gloves over languid fingers. The last time I wore these shoes, we started a 4-alarm scandal. Everyone's eyes redressing you as your eyes undressed me, burning with molten lust, my skin smoldering so densely we smoked out our spouses. The last time I wore these shoes, we composed a symphony. The music of our bodies, outplaying the band, the room, the moment. That moment we seized an opportunity, explored sameness, created history, molded a seamless bond. The last time I wore these shoes, my dear Fred, we became one.
Hi, I'm Brian McLean. I'll be reading from my collection, my self-published collection, Mountains Become Rivers today. And we'll play a little song first, just to get you started. This book of poetry is actually based on research from the Soto Zen Buddhism of that lineage. And so there's a lot of it's based in fables, koans, things like that, but it's personal, it's very direct, they're very short. So thank you, and let's just get started. He flows away. The earth holds my sway, but I won't mind. You change your mind, please change your mind. She runs away at the end of every day, but I won't mind. You change your mind, just change your mind. To run to the arms around me. You take every step for granted. You run to the arms around me. I run away from the words I had to say, but I won't mind. You change my mind, change my mind. To run to the arms around me. You take every breath dancing, dancing. So again, this is from Mountains Become Rivers. They're just numbered 1 to 100. I rate 100 poems in 100 days every year, and then I kind of edit that content. So this is a collection that's based on kind of that style. So the poems don't really have titles, they just have numbers. Number 28. We are waters, rushing in, rushing out. As trees make breath, so do nighthawks that talk in tongues. As they slip into our dreams, so easily, so swiftly, they resculpt the landscape into long-lost friends, limbs, and lavender. Dally driving stick behind that wheel, a steady steerman heading due south, heading into the deep night. Number 47. What do we have to offer but our silence? When there could be raindrops, when we are courseless in rising waters, knots of gale, we are navigators on open seas. Without our charts, what do we have to offer but empty hands, waiting and open? Number 67. As the weight of night is still coming on, we can find the erasure of the daylight's dreaming, wake and streaming, cold and freeing. Will they find the body and the pulse or pulsar way off our radar? Or do we ever meet again in the gambling ways, quark and strangers, match meek and managing, all the times towered to the falling flowers of the mind as the weight of night is still coming on? And number 70. Adore darkened seas on the slant and succumb now to night's embrace, her swaying sweet, her laying meant to greet. All teeth turned love, lies welling wolves, easy on the eyes, her dress, a motion, a wind, parting palms, pressing lips, tight, planted feet take hold, ready, that embrace, eminent, aimless, seated and waiting. So, thank you.
Hello, I'm Josh Rosengrant, and now I'm going to be doing the zombie. I feel so disgusting. I'll let you fill me with hate. So much sadness now lies in this empty heart. But now I stand alone, hating myself, wishing for you to know that your selfishness has turned me into a zombie. Now I roam the earth in search of myself and my love that turned me into what I never dreamt I could be. Past souls scream for me to find my way. This world has become such a dark place, filled with my tears and terror that now consumes this domain. Sometimes I find it hard to move, think, breathe. Will I ever become the hero? Your lies turn my veins into pure liquid, my voice darkened by the thought of you. I remain alone, waiting for the end. And yet, there is hope. For you will not pen my story, no. One day, I will return, full of life. I only wish that you could see that as a zombie is not what I wish to be. I am me.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for listening. I'm going to do a short poem called Breakfast One Morning, and it is a true story from my childhood where my grandmother, who used to live next door to us, would make us breakfast in the morning on the weekends. And it would be me, my cousins, and some of the kids from the other neighboring houses. And she would make mainly bacon and eggs and toast. So it's a very endearing story. It's one of a really good memory that I have of her. So I hope you like it. Breakfast one morning. Breakfast one morning we thought would be boring, such was the pattern of most. But inside this house there must have been a mouse, for we were missing the toast. Grandma, who was cooking, thought that when she wasn't looking, someone had messed with her food. We searched and we looked while Grandma still cooked, and breakfast was late. How rude. Finally we sat down, we all had a frown, for we were perplexed and confused. We couldn't see how it could be that a piece of toast could be loosed. But then it came who was to blame, and the laughter could be heard coast to coast. It was no mouse, for stuck to her blouse was that buttered up piece of toast. Breakfast each morning is no longer boring and will not ever be hereafter. For if the host says, "Where's the toast?" it will always guarantee laughter. The other funny thing about that poem is that that really did happen. And when we finally found the piece of toast, my grandmother literally peeled it off from her shirt and put it on my cousin's plate for him to eat. And he was horrified. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Louisa Lamb. I am mostly a security guard at a art museum, but I do write a little bit of poetry, and I'm happy to be sharing it with you. Mostly unpublished, but maybe we can do something about that. So my first poem is going to be called Super, and it has to do with a little bit of, problems with our landlords that I think is pretty common with your modern adults. So without any further ado, Super. Oh, super, my super, how much water would gush through the pre-war ceiling, crumbling, caving before you heeded my call. Super, my super, I can never remember which dryer is a lie, because it changes sometimes. Super, my super, I was humbled to find a wall in my shower was half tile, half tape. And in telling you, you replied, "It's good tape." Oh, super, my super, you are without country or mother, only your given name appearing on official documents. Super, my super, in summer roaches hump unabashed, their multitudes imperishable, six-legged hallelujahs. In winter, the ballsiest mice emerge from just used burners for their cut of bacon. Oh, super, my super, how I love my one bedroom, and it hasn't been easy. Boxes collapsing slowly, art still unhung, but still, even on gray days, light touches everything. In all three rooms, all of them mine. Oh, super, my super, I knew to offer you something stronger than coffee as we waited in my bedroom for the steam to kick in, seeking the source of downstairs ire. You sat on the floor and you told me you are from Montenegro. And we talked about life and luck, the crooked roads. The steam came on, no leaks. We clinked glasses, threw them back, and you left. Oh, super, my super, I know there will be days there will be tape in my shower. My faucets will weep, the halls swept clean, heavy rows of refuse piled on the curb, like barricades, wide and even.
back in the 1970s, when I was in high school, I was placed on detention because I committed a minor transgression, but the school officials, the dean of students, felt it warranted punishment. And I thought about protesting, but you know, I was in high school, and what are you going to do? So I showed up to this after-school detention in this windowless tiny room, and I walked in and there were about 20 other students there, and we're all whispering to each other, what are you in for? What are you in for? And we're trading stories until the teacher that was supervising us came in, and then we had to have absolute silence. You could read, you could do your homework, or you could just sit there silently, but you couldn't interact with anybody, and that was our punishment. Well, I did that, and the creativity in that room, you could cut with a knife, it was incredible. So I figured, I can't protest, but I can write. So I wrote a poem, and in my senior year of high school, which was about 18 months later, I was able to recite this poem in front of the entire student body. And I thought it ended there. That was fine, you know, did it. But 44 years later, I got a Facebook message, and the person said, "You don't know me, but I was in 9th grade when you recited a poem to the entire school, and you walked off the stage to absolute stunned silence. I thought it was the greatest thing, and I never forgot it." So it reinforced to me that words are powerful. So I am going to recite this poem tonight. It's called On Answering a Question Asked in Detention. It is a conversation between two high school students in detention. Enjoy. Fortunately for me, it's my first offense. Well, what was it, one might ask? Tell me and ease the suspense. Well, for me, said I, it was nothing out of the ordinary for me. You see, I was different from everybody, and what's done is done. Well, what were you doing? Were you carrying a gun? Hey, this is fun. Were you cutting a class? Oh, don't be an ass. It was nothing like that, just something different. Well, did you leave without a pass? No, and don't harass me. You see, I'm myself, but abnormal, others say. I broke a rule, so I'm here today. I'm considered a defiant person and labeled that way by authority. Well, if I may ask, were you annoying anyone? I was toying with the idea, but the only reason I could say I'm here is because I didn't conform. I refused to obey a rule, so today I'm here after school. No one cared about what I was doing, but it wasn't supposed to be done. You see, I didn't bother anyone, and I won't run away from the cause. I am an individual, and I do as I may, and because of this, I have to stay. Well, hey, were you running through the hall, or were you writing on a wall? Those are what we call offenses. Hey, one senses defiance in you, and yet you're passive. If you've committed a crime, I'll come to your defenses. I did nothing of the sort, and there's no one to blame. If it happened again, I'd still do the same. But why, one asked, why are you this way? If you have no cause, you don't have to stay. If you've done nothing wrong, why don't you leave? I'd fight the system openly. Can't you make them believe? Of course I could fight, but to them, I'm wrong. It's not that I'm weak, I just don't belong in a group that enforces ridiculous rules. But you must realize it's like this in all schools. I know, teachers play cop and students play fools. And you've got to humor them. You must play your part. After a while, you could start being yourself, but I've no doubt you'll be hassled. But be yourself. It's an art. But be passive, it's the only way. But don't be crushed completely by a ridiculous rule. Even then, as an individual, you'll experience dismay. You'll probably be forced to stay after school. But don't let them destroy you if you believe in yourself. Are you finding it hard to conceive this? It's the only way I can say it. Most rules you should follow, but when some are not right, then, my friend, you could fight the system and you could pay. It won't hurt you to stay after school. Let them smile because they've enforced a rule. But don't let them break you or take your mind away. You are yourself, and this is the price to pay. And it's worth it, believe me, it's worth it, I say. This is the reason I am to stay. Believe me, I will do this every day if I must. It's a trust I have in myself. They will not break me. I'll be what I may. They will not take my individualism away. This, my friend, is the reason that I'm here today.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
I'm an artist, primarily a sculptor and a poet. I've been writing poetry seriously for about 11 years. And my poems each focus on some simple moment from my day. When I sit down to write, I begin to scan my day or the day before, looking for one of those moments that somehow interrupted the ordinariness of that particular day and registered on some other level. And I often don't know the reason why that moment surfaces until I start writing. And the writing process then becomes sort of an adventure, a kind of a tunneling down into this space where words take on new meanings and new nuances. And they stir up wonderings. And in the best of them, for me, they lead to some unexpected insight about whatever. I'm going to read 3 of them. The first one's entitled, Slicing a Loaf of Bread. It was a hefty loaf of multigrain bread, the hearty, healthy kind, and I'd been slicing my way through it over the course of the week. A slice or 2 at a time for breakfast, and 2 again for a sandwich at lunch. This morning, it occurred to me to start slicing from the unsliced side, breaking a lifelong pattern of following a sacred rule of bread slicing. Start at one end and finish at the other. But whoever said that slicing bread was like writing a sentence, one end a capital and the other a period, or following a map from here to there? Why couldn't here be at both ends and there somewhere in the middle? I've been pondering this all day, wondering what other loaves I could slice anew, what other worlds I could turn upside down, what revolutions I could begin.
Regulation. How many African teardropped in the ocean? How many Africans bloodstained the soil of this foreign land ever since the day it was open? How many lives they were owning? How many ropes were choking the innocent lives of Africans who lived in fear and died hoping that Jesus would deliver them from the hands of the beast, not realizing they were all joking. Traditional self-loathing, blacks in Willie Lynch clothing, disabled African from self, stole our wealth, oppression of us. Land of the free is not for us. Land is for the thieves indigenous. Poverty struck us. Way for white man to say fuck us. The way they're going to be equal to spear chuckers or former slaves, so they brainwashed us. Made us forget about us. No unity and no trust among us.
Hello, my name is Sarah Clark, and I am a poet and a journalist as well. I am going to graduate from the College of St. Rose in May of this year, and I will be opening with my piece, Chains. She is blind to the chains you have around her wrists. Those chains are words such as, I love you, baby, and you're stupid. She is too focused, giving you everything she has, to notice the insults colder than steel. She suffocates in manipulation. You only value her love when you get what you crave. You crave control. Your love is built with pictures and promises you don't intend to stand by if she doesn't please you. Your lies turn into bitter words when she doesn't please you, and your relationship lives on the edge of a cliff that will fall and shatter the day she doesn't please you. She is trapped between fragile walls. One is her and one is you. To be free, she must break one, but she will still end up in a pile of sheetrock and paint either way, because you will take her down too. She is depressed. Your craving put her into a vicious cycle of swallowing antidepressants. Squeeze, turn the lid into hope, press the pill to her lips, pop the pill into her mouth. Reality turns to hell when she realizes you can't fill a void with 20 milligrams of Seraphim, or weeks, months, or years of therapy. The day she finds happiness, the day where she finds peace, is found without you. As your love only goes as far as her willingness to let you pull her chains.
My underpants are tired. Yes, my underpants are very tired. Poor things are color faded, elastic stretched, and just about They've lost their usefulness. But they were sprightly and energetic and gregarious. They snapped into place and carried on. Their vibrancy and assertiveness led the parade. They were used, abused, and energetic. My bones and joints are tired too, somehow not as elastic as my underpants. I can see what has happened to my undies. I cannot see, but only feel the worn out bones and joints. The brain used to be ecstatically elastic. I pushed her to the limits, I'm afraid, and now she just sits and waits for me to activate her. She revs up a tad slower, but she does rev. The face is tired too. I used it to smile with glowing graciousness. Now she smiles back, but the wrinkly smile is in the way. The hands have held preciousness. My baby, my friend, my lover, they too are wrinkly and are weakening. Yet they still feel and allow my heart to keep feeling. As I stretch out my worn underpants and use these hands to caress my hairbrush, I wonder, who is that in the mirror? The one with a wrinkly, worn-out smile, the one who used to snap back in any situation, whether in love, battle, quiet, exhilaration, joy, tragedy, or any other demands of this thing called living. She has arrived at a time when the truth, it's time to know that the undies and me are tired. I can replace my undies with a new, but my worldly countenance and weariness is here to stay. I shall merely place my worn-out underpants in the back of my drawer. I shall understand that I too am weary and wearing out. Elastic is worn out for the both of us. Weary and wearing and wearing out. But we aren't made to last forever.
Hi, my name is Keith Prince. I will be reading some poems for you today. I hope you enjoyed them. This poem is called Into the Moonlight. We watch as she dances in the moonlight, not a care in the world. She's brandishing a vanishing pearl. We watch as reality unfolds, yet she dances on a precipice between two worlds where mentally only she exists. See, she's a Pegasus amidst the wild horses, untamed by the touch of man and uncontrolled by other forces. Man, she's a wildflower whose petals have never wilted, whose pride has never shifted, whose presence is truly gifted. I've seen her leap into the sky and catch a falling star, hold it in her palms and whisper, I know who you are. See the star begin to shine and then slowly start to elevate. Watch as it begins to rise and then it starts to hesitate. Her hands quickly manipulate and create a cage around it. The sound crackles and tears at the reality that it's founded. Self-trapped with no place to fly, she slowly reaches up and gently extracts the wish inside. It was then the star died as the wish tried to struggle free back out into the moonlight. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Deetra Wallace, aka The Goddess. Tonight I will be performing my poem, Freedom. Freedom. Freedom is a luxury that everyone can afford. Free to live like never before. Storms of unstructure, misfortune got you trapped in. Freedom to love like never before. Don't fall. Grab your brothers and sisters. Chant side by side. Fire squad. Our youth being robbed. Our elderly all alone at home, waiting to go home. Sitting there all alone. Different drummer boys to this beat. They want all our elderly on their feet. They own the right for us to fight for all of their rights. Yes, it's a fight. We have to fight. We, all as humans, we can have different opinions, views on what to do, and it's cool. Get together. We can come up with tools to use. I'm tired of our elderly being abused, confused, fake news, and honest opinion to all win, but it's sinful to be for all these companies. Some are our enemies, disoriented, fundamental, scribble scrabble, playing with our lives, doctors telling us lies. Too many have died. All these people do is babble. I want to rattle your cage. It's been disengaged. Violence. Get you engaged. Get your minds out of that cage. All enraged. Light up the sage before I go on the stage. Hey, it's okay. Freedom.